This is a brief demonstration of Change Nexus for iMIS. This tool extends ASI's new Change Notifications feature. It allows you to manage endpoints from within iMIS and deliver customizable payloads to your integrations. Change Nexus differs from our iMIS for Webhooks app because it is triggered by data changes within iMIS and driven by change notifications. Change notifications currently allows you to configure a single endpoint, and it does not deliver data payloads. But Change Nexus builds onto this and allows you to have multiple endpoint connections from within iMIS. There are 3 tiers available: Lite, Plus, and Ultimate. Each target endpoint you configure can be different and can have a different tier. The Plus and Ultimate tier require an iMIS user for authentication. Lite, included in the subscription, allows you to relay change notifications to unlimited target endpoints. Plus relays the standard REST payload for each type of change notifications received, so it actually includes data. Ultimate allows you to configure custom payloads to be relayed for each type of change notification for each integration connection. The following events are supported: purchasing a commerce item, creating, updating, or deleting an event, creating, updating, or deleting an event registration, creating or updating a product, which is like a shop item, joining or renewing a membership, creating or updating an organization, creating or updating a single instance panel data source, creating or updating a multi-instance panel data source, creating or updating a party type, creating or updating a person, creating or updating a user. So let's jump in and take a look at how it works. So this is the configuration screen for Change Nexus. As you can see, it's all very familiar. You manage each of the connection endpoints from within iMIS itself. So to add a new one, we simply add it to a standalone panel. Here we can define a description, the target URL where we're going to send the webhook. We can make a connection active or inactive if we don't need it all the time. We set the mode that we're going to be running, as well as having all of the events listed here. And from as you can see here quite clearly, we're able to enable which events we actually want to listen for, and that's really critical when we're working with automation tools, because that helps us send focused updates to an endpoint. We might not want all of that noise coming from iMIS, records being updated, event registrations. We might only care about the event registrations. So this actually allows you to choose which events will be relayed. And this is of course configurable for every single connection. That is the mode, and the events that you actually listen for. The different modes affect how the webhook Change Nexus behaves. So for example, Lite only relays the standard change notification, so no data. It just lets you know something was updated. The Plus actually goes and fetches the data from that change notification, and the Ultimate lets you really configure something very custom. Using an IQA, you can actually shape the data that gets relayed. So you can choose to send 3 fields, you can choose to gather fields from all over the database and relay that information. Maybe you need some meal preferences with your registration information. You can go and get that from a user-defined table or from a data source, sorry. So you can do all of that sort of stuff with the Ultimate tier. And that's where that one is extremely useful, because that becomes particularly helpful with automations as well. So now that we've seen that, I've got a few examples in here of updates that we're doing. We have one setup that's going to go to Zapier. We have a plus one that's going to just go off to Pipedream, which is just a utility for seeing the data coming in, and we also have a power automation integration in here as well. We've got some that are disabled, some that are switched on, you name it. So that's what we have in our configuration right now. So let's actually trigger something. Very, very basic. We're going to go and create an event, perhaps. So let's do that. We're going to keep this very simple, but this is how the tool works. I'm going to keep the information to quite a minimal amount just for the demo. And I need an event name. And here you can actually see the traffic that came in. So this one here, if we check the headers, this was an ultimate tier that was relayed here, and that's actually given us the results of an IQA. If we check the next one, this one was a plus tier, so that's gone and got the event endpoint. And somewhere here there will also be a light one, and I think it's probably this one. This is a light event, so what you get in this one is a very basic set of information. A new event was created. So that just shows you the data being delivered. So we have much more interesting use cases we could demonstrate. We're coming up on the end of this initial video on Change Nexus, but we'll provide some links with some specific automation examples which are really cool. Things like sending SMSs, filling out Google Sheets, and sending calendar invites, to name just a few examples. So let's jump back into iMIS now that we've seen that's working. I just want to show how Ultimate Tier does its business. What we have is a series of IQAs. So when we go into our folder under the Change Nexus, for every Ultimate Tier endpoint, we create a folder that matches the description. So for the Zapier integration, we then have all of these different events, and we're able to configure every single one of these IQAs differently. And these are what handle what happens within that Zapier integration. So if we're listening for the event updated, whatever we put in this IQA is what will get relayed. So we really have an incredible amount of capability in terms of customization, changing what happens, and so on. Setting it up is very simple. We give you a set of sample IQAs, and all you need to do is copy and paste and then rename the folder to match your configuration. It's a very basic way to set things up, but it works. So this concludes the initial tour of Change Nexus and its features. Now we're going to provide you with a number of links to specific automation examples where you can see Change Nexus in action.